Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year where a lot of you guys have been applying like for over and over again. So this time it's already like November 2nd week, so this time there's a pretty much a long rush through the to the nearest US consulate like in Nepal and also in Delhi. So in this video I'm gonna address all of these questions which the VO might possibly raise at you for the interview. So I mean, if you guys are first time viewers, I'm from Nepal. I'm currently studying MIS in the University of Missouri St. Louis here at Shrewsbury, or say St. Louis as a whole. So in this video, let's get it right going. I don't want to waste you guys time, so I'm just gonna read it out from my iPad over here, like all the possible questions. So let's get it rolling. All right. First and foremost question what you might get asked is, why this university? That's like probably the most important question VO is gonna ask you. So for this, you're gonna talk about three stuff, okay? For the first part, talk about your research. Just reach out to your like major head, maybe like your associate professor or maybe the chairman or maybe the dean, and then talk to him, like just shoot him or her an email and talk about like how this program is like better as compared to other ones. So obviously the person is gonna raise like pros rather than the cons. So talk about the pros, just look at it, maybe write it or something, like jot it down somewhere, just go through it over and over again, and then like make something happen, do the magic so that the things the person is gonna tell, it's gonna stick in your head. So even on the day of the interview, just like feel free to like say all of those questions. For the second part of that, talk about academic excellency. So for this, probably talk about the good ranking your university has, or maybe the good ranking the major within your university has. So I mean, this has a lot to do with how the VO is going to see your university, right? So maybe just go to niche, just go to US News, just go to College Board. I mean, there's a lot of options on the internet, so just go to those sites and then talk about how your major is different as compared to other ones. For the third part of this, talk about scholarship. If you have gotten something, like a good scholarship within your major, like from your department, maybe if you have got like a pretty good scholarship from like the university and the major combined, maybe talk about that. So these three things, if you include that on the first question, that's going to be why this university, that's a pretty good way to kick off. For the second part, or let's say the second question, it's going to be why this major. In this, talk about the interest. Don't go with the money. Don't go like telling like you're gonna like be a millionaire or maybe a billionaire after you graduate. You're gonna see a lot of job prospects. No, that's a big red flag. Talk about the interest. So for me, like I'm an MIS major. Maybe I'm gonna talk about like my interest. I got inclined in tech. Like ever since I was a kid, I was interested in like business. I was interested in like tech. So I found like the perfect combination for business and tech. That's gonna be MIS for my major. If you're in CS, maybe talk about how you like enjoyed playing games ever since you were a kid, or maybe like how you got fascinated the way people code and how a single line of code can change everything. Like you get the point. So maybe talk about that. If you wanna like, for instance, if you wanna be a nurse or maybe a doctor, or maybe like general rule of thumb, you're gonna study biology, talk about how your interest spiked in that. Maybe talk about the human heart, or maybe talk about the human body anatomy, like stuff like that. So these three this question for like why this major, these all stuff should probably wrap that up. So the third question you might raise you is, why USA and why not other countries? I'm not sure who you are. I mean, I'm not sure if you are from Nepal or if you are like watching from somewhere else. So for this, you're gonna talk about like your major and its applicability within your own country. Like just tie something, like with the US curriculum back to the home country. So for instance, you're gonna talk about the worldwide recognition the US education has. For instance, if you're from Nepal, like how the education system here is. But if you're like gonna study in America, talk about how good the education system here is. Like what's the academic excellency, like how many people like throughout the world know about US education and how much do employers value that. So talk about that. For the second part of that, talk about how flexible the curriculum is. So maybe talk about like how up to date like the stuff the education here is. For instance, so for instance, in my case, I would probably like study about say Windows 7, or maybe like for instance i5 or maybe i3, but over here I study about i7, I study about i9, I study about Windows 11. So you get the point, right? I mean, things over here, they are like fast than that of what you study back in your home country. So talk about that. These two things, world recognition and flexible curriculum, these two things should probably wrap that up. And for the other question, it's going to be what are your plans after graduation, or maybe the view is going to twist it up and say like, what are you going to do after you graduate. So for this, again, just tie things with your home country. For instance, if you are from Nepal, I would like, for CS majors, like I would say like I will return back to Nepal and I'll work for like the government of Nepal under ICT, or maybe like I will find a startup, say like give examples of Patha, give examples of Toodle. I don't think Patha is from Nepal, I think that's from Bangladesh. So maybe talk about Toodle, maybe talk about eSewa, maybe talk about PhonePe, stuff like that. Talk more about entrepreneurship, because in Nepal what's really driving the economy is finance and entrepreneurship. So maybe if you can like kind of blend both of these things together, you'll probably get the visa that way. For instance, if you are like okay, let's just get it this way. If you are like from somewhere else, say not Nepal, maybe from India, maybe from like some parts of Africa, like because I see a lot of people like on my analytics, like you are from Africa, you're from like India. So maybe talk about like how this education, the one you get here in the US, how it's gonna like benefit your country. For the most part, I would say connect it with like some basic things, like say like talk about developing like the rural parts of your country. That's like one of the key areas where you can probably like use your education. Talk about like working for the government, like I said. So in a nutshell, maybe talk about development, or maybe talk about joining the government of Nepal and helping them like grow, like helping them secure the system for the CS majors. For other majors, probably talk about the same thing, and like you get the point anyway. So for plans after graduation, that should be it. So for the last, okay, that's going to be the second last question. For the second last question, it's going to be, do you have any siblings in the US, or do you have anybody in the US? So just be honest on this. If you have like your brother, your sister, or your dad, or your mom, talk about them. If your like siblings are on an F1 visa, talk about like their education. Say like he or she is going to XYZ university and he's going to return back to Nepal and do something. Or if your dad or if your mom is like a green card holder and they are on their way to become a citizen, like just be honest, tell them like they're going to be a citizen, but I'm going to return back to my country because I have my own plans. I mean, normally the viewer wouldn't believe this, but make the viewer believe in such a way that, even if you lie, just lie confidently, but just don't like, just don't go nuts. Like if, you get pretty nervous, I mean, it's pretty much okay to get nervous in the interview. So just be calm, it's just an interview. It's not gonna be like, I mean, you're gonna get, I think it's gonna be like 3 times. I mean, you can like probably take it 3 times. After that, you're gonna get a new date for that. I'm not quite sure about that though. So for that, just don't be nervous, just be honest, because everything you say, it's gonna be on your DS 160. So if you lie confidently, but don't just, I mean, just don't go berserk, man. For the last question, it's gonna be, who's gonna fund your education? So in this, it's like for most of us, it's just our parents. So talk about your parents' saving, talk about their income, talk about your land, talk about like how much your parents have worked hard to save up a lot of money for education. So on a general rule of thumb, say like for the savings, for example, if my COA is like 25,000, I'm going to talk about 30,000 as a saving. If my COA is like 50,000, I'm going to talk about 55,000. You get the point, right? So just like make the savings equals to or more than the COA. That's like normally how you get like, I mean, how you make the viewer believe like you have got pretty much enough funds to cover your education for the first year at least. So all of these questions, if you follow like pretty much the same pattern, like I said, why this university, why this major, why USA, plans after graduation, do you have any siblings, and who is going to fund your education? All of these questions, these are pretty much easy questions if you like ask yourself honestly. It's just like you or maybe like somebody else saying like it's going to be a different answer or something like that. Don't go into that, don't fall for that. Just like, it's pretty much a one-on-one conversation, so you don't need to be like pretty much scared and pretty much nervous. I mean, I get the point, like it's like a short interview that's gonna like completely change your life. So I mean, I can take it that way, but just be honest, just be calm, stay calm, take long breaths, don't like worry about the interview. Just leave like a good impression on the interview itself. You can probably like watch my oldest videos, like I think I got uploaded that back in February, so probably watch that one. I mean, I've talked a lot about it over here and also there, so maybe just look at that, because I'm going to share my personal experience back in that video. I'm going to leave a link of that down below. So that should be it for the video. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment down below. If you want to like talk one-on-one with me, the best way to reach out to me would be through email. It's going to be reachabinav reachabinav@gmail.com. And I mean, it's pretty much I'm pretty much busy nowadays because with the midterms, like, you know, it's that time of the year. Like, I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna pass second semester, and I'm gonna move on to the third one. So I've got a lot of assignments, a lot of, you know, midterms going on. So that's why I'm not like that regular on YouTube nowadays. But I show you, like, after December, maybe like somewhere in December, you know, things are gonna be pretty good, because from December 14th my semester is gonna end and I'm gonna be in the third semester this early. So I mean, don't worry about the content, I'm gonna keep putting it up. Maybe follow me on Instagram, because that's where I'll answer a lot of your questions. And for the video, that should be it. Don't worry, you know, take it easy. I hope to see you guys on my next video. Bye bye.